Welcome to another episode of the Black Briefing Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Samantha Douglas.
I'm Wild Style Pichelle.
And we are still Gregless, obviously. Sadly. Now, today we're super excited to bring somebody else, though. So we have a guest today here to talk about the exciting things that are happening with the city. I know we usually talk about negative things, but today we are here to talk about positive things, okay? We don't want to hear no drama, no smoke. And we are here with Ben Tapper.
Thank y'all. It's good to be here. Excited, a longtime listener and viewer of the Black Briefing. So
thank you.
It's cool to be in the space and to grace your platform. So thanks for having me.
Much.
It's good to have you, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's good to have you. I tell people all the time, they're like, yo, we're cool.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Like, it's great. We'll have a good time. And we're having a good time today. So first, I want to start with, I was going to start with where you're at in the city, but we'll hold that. I want to start with first about you, right? So what brought you to this space, to this work? What did you do? I don't even know this, what you did leading up to this.
Yeah, it's been a journey. So I am originally from Northwest Indiana, region rat, loud and proud.
Region rat. I hadn't heard that term. Okay.
Yeah, from Maryville.
Okay.
And so I came down to Indiana.
That's why, because see, they can't claim Gary, so they
you know,
you can't say Maryville.
Yeah, they'll fight. They'll fight you over that.
People try to force Gary on us, and so I got them like, hey, no disrespect, but I didn't live there. But I've been in Indianapolis for about 13, 14 years now. So I came down in 2012 after undergrad. And my journey has been pretty winding. So the first role I had in the city actually was under Mayor Greg Ballard.
Really?
Enough, yeah.
Wow.
I worked as an AmeriCorps Vista Fellow in the Office of Education and Innovation.
Okay.
That
It was wild. So I was up there reviewing charter school applications, kind of getting the lay of the land, learning more about the city. And, education, I think it's hot now. It was real hot back then.
Yeah,
real contentious. And so that was my introduction to Indianapolis, like that kind of atmosphere, the politics of education. And after that, I did some community outreach work with Crystal House and worked for a community center, and then did a hard career pivot. I wanted to get into international relations. My dream coming out of undergrad was to work for the UN one day. And so that was kind of what I thought I wanted to do. And so I did a hard pivot, was gearing up to move to DC. And I had a bit of a quarter life crisis, as millennials will.
It happened to me.
And so I had this moment where I'm like, I've been approaching my life this way, real logical, thinking, okay, I know I want to get how I'm going to get there. And it didn't get me where I wanted to go. It got me being forced out of a job I didn't like to begin with, which, if that's ever happened to y'all, it is super insulting.
Yeah.
You feel disrespected as a person,
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be here anyway.
It's just like when somebody ugly breaks up with you. You're like, first of all,
I was doing you a favor.
I never liked you anyway.
Like I had to lower my standards for this, and this is how you do it.
We ain't doing that. I broke up with you.
So y'all feel me. It hurt. But it forced some good self-reflection. And I ended up doing something that made no sense at the time. I ended up deciding to take a part-time job at a church here in the city, First Mennonite Church. And then working under Pastor Shannon Dykus. I don't know if either of y'all ever knew Shannon when she was here, but a great woman. She's out in Virginia now. So worked under her, and then also went to seminary, Christian Theological Seminary.
That is a very big difference.
It was a very big difference, and it made no sense because I was an agnostic at the time. Like I'd grown up in the church. I didn't believe in God, wasn't sure what I believed, what was true. I didn't want to be a pastor. Certainly wasn't about to work in the church. And so it made no sense that I was doing this, but it felt like the right move. And that decision kind of changed the trajectory of my professional career. And so doing that work in seminary, I got much more involved in anti-racism work, started podcasting, started speaking, started preaching about the intersections of race and justice and faith. And that led me to work with some friends, Manon and Josh, to start a consulting business called Kindred Collective, where we did DEI consulting for organizations. While I worked for... I always forget this place. Where was I working at? It's a small religious nonprofit. The name's the Center for Congregations. That's what I was at. Center for Congregations. I was there for like 3.5 years, doing some resource consulting, but also some DEI work within them. So all that kind of prepared me so that when I saw the job application for this role come out, I looked at it and I just saw myself on paper. Like I was like, all right, my experience
Yeah.
lines up really well with this. Let me throw my
Yeah.
name in the hat and see what happens. And then ended up getting the job and starting in January of 2023.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
It's been a journey.
January 2023.
Wow. Yeah. It's been a minute.
I didn't realize it had been that long.
I know.
I didn't either. I
Yeah.
was like,
I know.
Wow.
Almost 3 years now.
Wow. That's incredible. I didn't know. I'm so grateful to know your story because I didn't know. I didn't even know that you were from the region.
the region.
A region rat.
Yeah.
Didn't even know that. That's cool. That's cool. So when you say so I've had that experience before looking at jobs when I feel like, oh my God, this is me.
Mhm.
Like that's my resume.
Yeah.
That's what they want. So that's how you felt. Does it now that you're in it, does it still feel that way? Like this is me.
Yeah, it's actually been really affirming to get to do a job on this scale. You know, the
Mhm.
City County Enterprise is, I think, a little over 7,000 employees across
Mhm.
several different buildings,
Okay.
over, I don't even know how many agencies and departments. I know it's more than 20. It might be more than 40. And so to get to bring my style and skill set and expertise into that space and to see it validated and to see us actually be able to accomplish some things, to
Yeah.
build out a new agency, to hire staff, conduct trainings, launch the program we're about to talk about. Like all of
Yeah.
it has felt very affirming. And so I'm super thankful for the opportunity, super thankful that I've gotten to be here and do this work. And even more thankful that I'm getting to do this work at this point in time.
Yeah.
You know, it's a wild time to be doing any sort of
Yeah, it is.
equity related work.
Yeah.
But I'm really grateful that I get to be here, and it's been cool to use the gifts that I have and a little bit of knowledge to move the needle on some things. And so I've appreciated getting to do that.
Yeah. I appreciate you all standing on this work even through these kind of times, right? Because like you said, it's
Mhm.
probably this is probably one of the roughest. Let me not say the roughest in history, but recent history
Yeah.
is pretty
Recent.
rough for equity work.
In our lifetime, for sure, I would say.
Yeah. Were you about to say something?
Well, yeah, I was a lifetime, but anyway. But yeah, so what is the full title of your job? Like, what is it actually called on paper?
Right. So it's we made the title as long as we possibly could.
I know
we
y'all
could have
did.
shortened it. But my title is I'm the Chief Diversity and Equity Officer for the City of Indianapolis, and I oversee our Office of Equity, Belonging, and Inclusion.
Okay. Now, you had done like some of the similar work, like you said, with Centers for Congregation. Can we talk about religion and equity versus how much different is it versus city government? Because I think people don't think about religion, and that's often philanthropy.
It is. So I'll say I don't think it's a lot different for a couple reasons. One, and I often joke about this, I have prayed more before meetings in this job than I ever did working for the Center for Congregations.
That's hilarious.
Folks love to pray before meetings and city stuff. So in that sense, it feels very, very familiar. But at the end of the day, I think whether you're working in politics or faith-based work or community work, it is always about people and about community. And so in that way, it feels very similar. Like each day I'm just thinking about what do the people need, who needs it the most, and how do we marshal resources to get those needs met.
I mean, theoretically, they're all about service.
Yeah.
In both lanes.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be. Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
So I mean,
We don't have Greg here to do a full commentary on the Black church,
yeah.
but
No.
I hear him in my head.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious.
I think Greg is gonna if he watches this, he's gonna see a missed opportunity.
I'm sure.
He definitely will. Definitely will. So tell us, you guys have a new project opening for applications, right? This week.
Mm-hmm.
Super excited to hear about it. So tell us about that.
Absolutely. So, and this is the main thing that, I came on to talk about today. We're launching a program called the Birth Fund. And Birth is an acronym that stands for Building Independent, Resilient, Thriving Homes.
Oh.
And in short, I know we did a little something with that one.
Yeah, okay, I'm feeling that.
Love a good acronym.
We love a good acronym.
But that one lines up because some of them be a
Yeah.
little
Like, how'd you get there?
Yeah, a little headbutt sometimes.
So we're launching this program, and it's a direct cash assistance pilot. So what we're doing is we're taking philanthropic dollars and giving them to pregnant persons in Marion County. And so we've targeted 7 specific zip codes. We're going to enroll at least 100 moms
wow.
over the next few weeks and months, and they will receive direct cash payments of up to $750 for the next 3 years.
Oh, it's so on time.
It
My
is so
God.
on time and it's bold.
Yes.
In philanthropy, the ideal of ever giving cold hard cash to poor
Yeah.
people is
Yeah.
probably get you thrown out the window of the of one of
And
them
you know-
places.
And listen, I know Quincy gets a lot of flack on social media, but he's one of the first people I ever heard bring up the point that poor people are some of the best budgeters.
They are.
Oh, absolutely.
Ever. Like, because we can figure out how, I'm throwing myself in there, y'all. We can figure out how to make $20 work for a week for a family. Figure that budgeting out.
Because you have to.
Because you have to.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like, this whole, like, angst about giving people, like, just cash is crazy to me.
It's the ideal, and I like this program specifically more than almost any other program, is because it bucks the ideal that people are impoverished because of their lack of education, their lack of self-control, their inability,
financial literacy,
financial literacy, manage their finances. That's not true. There are systemic challenges that everybody's willing to agree exist, but then when it comes to philanthropy, well, you can't give poor people money. I love this project. It says, no, we don't trust people.
They make you earn it.
Yeah.
Right. It's not, well, earn it. Right. Because it's not like they don't trust you first. They're not extending trust first. That's the other thing too. Because if you give something first and then you say, hey, let me also give you these tools so that you can make the most of this thing I just gave you. That's one thing. That's not what happens. Right. What happens is like, nah, you got to do this course. And if you show up for all of them and do all of
you're going to take this baking class, but we're going to keep the flour locked up over here. The flour and the sugar is locked up over there, but you take the baking class without it.
The Ninja Warrior track to get to the $50 over there. It's just it's ridiculous. And so tell us how this works. So somebody applies and then what?
So applications will go live on November 5th. So tomorrow, we're recording on Tuesday, so it'll go live on Wednesday. And if you meet the qualifications, you can be enrolled in the lottery. And the qualifications are you've got to be 18 years or older. You have to have a family gross income of less than $39,000 a year. Okay. You have to live in one of 7 zip codes. And I'll just rattle off those zip codes real quick. So we've got 46222. We've got 46241, 46218, 46219, 46235, 46237. And then 46201. I don't know if I said that one or not already. But those are the 7 zip codes. Yeah. So you got to live in one of those zip codes.
At least 2 Far East Side ones. Okay.
Not my zip code, though.
Which zip code are you?
46208.
Oh, that's my zip code too. We got a couple. Dang, Sam.
We about to fight over that. What? Dang. There are a few
little kids out there.
But I mean, for real, like I would say, like 10 years ago, it was. You didn't see no kids playing in the neighborhood for a minute. We got kids playing in the neighborhood again.
Kids playing again.
We do. We do. And we will be expanding. So we've raised over, I think, about $2.3 million so far to fund the first 100 participants. Okay. And as we raise more money, then we will expand beyond those zip codes. And so hopefully, we'll be able to hit a 46208 at some point in the near future.
I mean, but honestly, I will say that all the zip codes you named off are areas of people absolutely.
You named my zip code.
Yeah, the need is high. Part of the calculus we made in selecting these zip codes was we looked at the infant mortality data from 2022, right?
And that's most important.
In some of these zip codes, all of them, we had infant mortality rates that were 2 to 3 times the national average. Jesus. And in some of them, for Black families, they were 4 to 5 times the national average.
Jesus.
And that's just unacceptable.
And the national average of Black families is just national average, period?
Period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So the need is high.
Yeah, it is.
This is a point that I used to bring up a lot of times when we talked about the rolling back Roe and stuff was just like, you're gonna, because our state is terrible with infant and mother
But
mortality.
long before that, they rolled that back.
Especially with Black women. So it's like, so you're gonna force me to stay pregnant.
Yeah.
Even though you can't ensure mine or my child's life.
Yep.
Through the process, through pregnancy, through infancy.
And now we've also cut the child care for a year or whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Not
CCDF till 27, I think.
But we love kids here, right?
But we love kids and we're pro-life.
Pro-life.
And that's why it's, I think, so exciting to be part of this project is because for reasons I don't understand about myself, I still have a fundamental belief that government can do good work and can really help people.
I believe that too. That's why I'm so critical. I'm internal, right?
I think that's when people get things misconstrued, right? Is this like we're so critical because we believe it can work. Like, not because if I didn't think it could work, we wouldn't say nothing.
Right. Why would you waste your breath?
Yeah. Why would you? Yeah. Why?
I'd be a revolutionary. Like we'd be blowing up stuff. I really believe that.
Yeah. Really. Really. So with this process, they apply.
Yes, thank you. So they'll apply, and if you meet those qualifications, you get enrolled into the lottery. And about a week after the application opens, we'll do the first lottery pull, and so they'll pull a number of folks depending upon who is eligible, and then those people, after they verify their income and verify the gestational age of the child, which I forgot to mention, we're giving preference to folks who are about 27 weeks pregnant or less. That doesn't mean that if you are beyond that, you shouldn't apply. You absolutely should. It just means that those folks will get a little bit higher preference in the lottery.
Okay.
So if you meet those requirements, it's based, one, in part, alignment. And so one of our partners is Goodwill's Nurse Family Partnership, and I think 28 weeks is their cutoff for support, and so we wanted to have some programmatic alignment.
Yep.
The national partner we're working with, which is the Bridge Project, I think they typically do about 24 weeks. And so we were trying to find enough alignment between the national partner and the local partner.
Okay.
And the other tension in this is, as you're thinking about when to enroll someone in a pilot, is the earlier you can get moms the cash payments in a pregnancy, the greater potential for impact.
Yeah.
Right? However, we know that in low-income communities and Black communities, there are a lot of people that are not connected to hospital systems when they're pregnant that deeply would still need the cash, maybe further along in their pregnancy. So you don't want to miss the people you're trying to serve in the name of potential impact, right? And so there's a balancing act you've got to try to do between getting it early enough, but also making sure that you are hitting the people that you know really need the support. Yeah. So all that to say, regardless of where you're at in your pregnancy, apply. And so you'll get enrolled in the lottery, and then we'll do a random pull based on those requirements, and then first checks will go out. There won't really be checks. The way it's set up, you can either have money direct deposited into a bank account.
I like that.
Or you will receive a reloadable debit card that'll get mailed to you and just reloaded every month.
Love it.
Please, if philanthropy watches this, reloadable debit cards. I'm watching what's going on with the SNAP pause, and I understand. Food pantries have to be a temporary solution, but we put all our eggs in one basket, and we could be handing people reloadable cards and letting them spend because. That was their pushback when they proposed that we use some of our surplus to supplement SNAP, is that because it's a federal program and there's a third party that they use to pay into onto the actual cards, that we have no mechanism in which to get money from the state to people. And I was like, well, what about the pandemic EBT cards that they send us in the mail?
Yep.
We can't just send these cards in the mail to people and load these cards? Like how?
It's got... Fundamentally, philanthropy has to hopefully look at this program and begin to trust people. Because I put up a post yesterday on Facebook and LinkedIn, and there was actually the only controversy was on LinkedIn, where the more professional people who have more than likely, I'm not going to say never, but more than likely have never had to eat out of a food pantry like me, are like, I can't believe, basically you said that. Well, I've eaten out of them. My neighbors have eaten out of them, and they've thrown the food all over the street during the pandemic. I helped take some of these boxes around, and we had to pick out the rotten food. Like this is what a lot of people are going to
Yeah.
find, all because
Or fill in voids, right? Because
Yeah.
I've done that a ton with food boxes.
Mhm.
Because regardless how somebody gives it to me, I'm not giving it to somebody else. And
and
there's
they can't do
a
nothing.
random jar of spaghetti sauce, but no spaghetti.
Mhm.
There's peanut butter. There's no bread or jelly or nothing. There's it's
Eh,
just like
Yeah.
random
Re-
rice. Like what am I doing with tomato sauce, peanut butter, and rice?
And the ones in my neighborhood, they love pumpkin puree and canned water chestnuts.
Yes.
I swear to God, this is the stuff that people are going to discover,
Yeah.
and all because we do not trust people to go
Yes.
feed themselves.
Yes. And there's a whole listen, it's called trust-based philanthropy.
Yeah. It's been a thing for
It's
a minute now.
It's been a thing,
Yeah.
y'all. It's a thing. It's
Actually,
been a thing.
yeah, I think CICF was the first philanthropy in the city to really engage with and endorse trust-based philanthropy.
Yeah.
This was probably 5 or 6 years ago. So
Yeah.
kudos to them, and shout out to our current partners. So one thing I didn't mention is that these funds are unrestricted, right? So
Mhm.
we are not dictating how people spend the money they get. We trust them to spend it how they need it. And the Simon Family Foundation was the first philanthropy that signed on and gave us money for this.
Amazing. I
that
was
is
gonna
great.
ask
That
you
is
who
great.
was like
They were
Yeah.
number one,
That's
and I had conversations with Rachel Simon about this 2 years ago, and she was on board with it then. The Glick Family Foundation is also giving us money for this.
That's
The
great.
Indianapolis Foundation has given money, and so our local philanthropies are stepping up and buying into this idea already.
I feel like the CICF collaborative, I mean, they're not perfect, but they've
Mhm.
put forward trust in the community in a way
Yeah.
that a
Yeah.
lot of folks still haven't got onto. Like you have to trust people to to go work with them.
Yeah.
And
I think and you're at least seeing, like, hearing the talk, right?
Mhm.
People get mad when folks are all talk, but honestly, we're at a place where we can't even get people to talk about these things, let alone
Mhm.
actually putting them into practice. So even the fact that they're willing to discuss these things, talk about these
Yeah.
things, champion some of these things. And that was going to be one of the questions that I had for you is like, has there been a particular funder that has come alongside and really championed with you?
Mhm. Yeah, so the Simons and particularly Rachel, I would say,
Okay.
the Indianapolis Foundation has obviously been a supporter from day
That's
one
good
in
to
this
hear.
work. This project started because Guadalupe and I were sitting in a coffee shop talking
Mhm.
about our jobs,
Yeah.
and we realized that at the Indianapolis Foundation and at the city, we were exploring direct cash pilots, and so we
Yeah.
decided to start working together on it, right?
Yeah.
And then I just want to shout out Marianne Glick. Marianne Glick has hosted a dinner for funders and is hosting
Oh,
a
that's
fundraiser
great.
tomorrow night for
Wow.
this.
Oh, that's amazing.
That is so powerful because people don't understand when you have people with that sort of wealth, they have
Mhm.
connections to other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And oftentimes wealthy people they'll write a check, but they're not going to go bring
Yep.
their
Mhm.
friends to come and support this and write a check too.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, so Marianne's really stepping up and showing out in ways that we appreciate. So we've got, I think, good support. And then I'll just talk for a minute about our national partner, the Bridge Project, because
Where are they based at?
they're based out of New York. And
New
so
York,
this is
okay.
a nonprofit that started in New York, and it's a really cool model. Like if you're a nerd about organizational structure and stuff, it's cool in that this is a nonprofit started by a wealthy family. One of the members of the family is named Holly Fogel. So they started this Monarch Foundation that funded the Bridge Project. And what they do is they launch these pilots all across the country at no cost to anyone, right? So they've been working with me for at least 18 months now to develop this. It's their program, their model, they're consulting on it. It has not cost the city a dime. They're
Wow.
funded through their
Wow.
their founder, and they're just funded to support these programs and make sure they get off the ground.
Wow.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do
I
you
like
see
that.
this?
Yeah.
Do you see this project? What is you guys' goal? Because I'm sure, because we dream big, that
Mhm.
there's goals beyond this, right? So like
Oh, absolutely.
this is a starting point of what bigger goals do
Yeah.
you see?
So let me first start by saying some of the impacts I think we'll see from this pilot, right?
Mhm.
So we expect to see improvements in preterm births. We know preterm births of all categories can be
Yep.
indicators and precursors of infant mortality rates, right? And so
Yep.
we expect to see a reduction in preterm births. We expect to see improvements in maternal morbidity and maternal health outcomes. And then there's also a host of economic indicators that we're going to be looking at. And so we are expecting to see wages increase in these families. We're expecting to see increased access to high quality nutrition, to reliable transportation, to higher quality childcare, increased educational attainment for families. So all these are things that we'll be measuring, and we've consulted with the Regan Street Institute to lead
Okay.
our evaluation. Right, so we're actually going to be able to track outcomes, track health data between Regan Street and Cradle. We'll be able to tell the story of what impact this pilot has had. And you mentioned what's the bigger dream, right? If you look at infant mortality data throughout the state, you will quickly realize that there are people in need in rural counties and urban counties
Yeah.
and suburban.
yeah.
Like, the need is great everywhere. And so I would love, once we show the success here in Marion County, I'd love to expand to the entire county and then have conversations about how to take something like this statewide. You know, because if we're going to be in a situation where we don't know what funding or assistance will be available from the federal government or from the state, we've got to think about ways to build coalitions that still support people. And at the end of the day, regardless of where you're at on the political aisle or political spectrum,
Right.
I believe we can still care about supporting people and helping people, especially mothers and children. And so the dream, is to get more funders, more support, more partners, and to expand the coalition and take this throughout the state at some point.
I love it. I love the goals. I mean, especially full-term births, because one of the things, I ain't got no kids, but everybody on my timeline has been having kids this year. And the number of them that all said, like, oh, the baby came a month early or 2 months early is outrageous. It's
They're
enough
all,
for.
I don't know. I do not have a friend that's been pregnant in the last 5 or 6 years that hasn't had a preterm birth.
That's
Wow.
Yeah.
Do not have one. I promise you.
That's all I
My
see.
cousin, one of my best friends, a Far East Side leader out here, like, I mean, and several months early. Yeah. And that's, I've tried to tell people too, like, so I've said this before, but I had preeclampsia with my first 3 children. So none of them were to term. I didn't have, I gave birth to my 4th. I was 39 weeks. I was 39 weeks. I was actually able to schedule my cesarean for that one and stuff, but the rest of them. So my first one was at 36 weeks. My second one was 37. And then I think the third one was 37 too. But yeah, because of preeclampsia, that's why I can't stress enough to women, especially Black women. It's so important that you're going to the doctor.
Yeah.
Because especially with that first one, I felt right as rain. And I would go in there and my blood pressure would be off the wall.
Wow.
They'd be like, you don't have a headache? You don't have like anything? I'm like, no. Now, and toward the end, I had a whole lot of the swelling and I had to be put on bed rest and stuff. It was a whole lot. But my point is like, I was very, very sick and did not have any signs or symptoms. It was just the fact that I was going to the doctor, going regularly. So as soon as you see that positive, test result at home or whatever, you just need to go ahead and go. Just go ahead and go. Figure out everything else later, but you have to go. You have to seek medical attention because something as easy as just looking at your urine test can tell you a whole lot about where you're at. And these were my first 2 especially, but my first 3, those were life and death situations. The third one, the blood pressure, the preeclampsia hung on for a while, and I had to stay on blood pressure medicine until my first 6-week checkup.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is, now keeping in mind, this was 2013, and so I was in my 20s. I was in my early 20s with high blood pressure still, just because preeclampsia hanging on even after I gave birth. So yeah, I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to go to the doctor, to go regularly for your checkups. Because there's just so many things that could be going on, but a lot of us, to your point, without access to healthcare, without access to and worried about like money and stuff like that,
And that
or
causes
taking care of other
stress.
children.
That causes
Yes.
stress, worrying about money.
Yep.
Stress, and then you can't, and that's what I love about this program, especially the timing of it, is you have so many women out here that are pregnant, already, having other children. Now they're without SNAP benefits, and it's the holidays, and this is the peak of depression as well. Like, it's just so we are just headed into such a rough, I hope it's not as dark as I imagine, but just a dark time. And this little ray of hope is definitely something that I think will help especially as many people as you all can reach. So what is you guys' anticipated reach? Like how many women are you looking to?
As many as we got dollars to serve, right?
Okay.
So right now we have enough for 100 participants for the full 3 years. So that initial 100 we got fully funded. And we're going to keep fundraising. Like I mentioned, we've got a fundraiser tomorrow night that Mary Anglick is hosting.
Okay.
We've got asks out to CareSource and IU Health for additional funds. And so as long as I keep meeting funders that want to listen and send money, we'll keep finding ways to expand the program.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So how can general residents, so obviously we're not pregnant or
Hopefully not.
So how can we help like elevate the cause? How can we help encourage people to support, even philanthropy for some of us who have those connections?
Yep.
Like what can we do to support?
I think, first of all, just being a guest in your podcast is a big help and support. So thank you for that. I think this is going to make a big difference. And then secondly, just spreading the word, letting community members, friends, family know that this is coming and that they should apply, I think will be really helpful. And then maybe most importantly, if y'all could just continue to help sow the seed of this dream, right, that we've got. This started 2.5 years ago, and it was an idea that I didn't know was going to be possible here in the city, especially in Indianapolis. And we can talk about the cultural differences between the region and Indy.
I would like to bring them closer together, and that would be us moving that direction.
That's
because we can be a little cautious here in this city.
Yes, we're very cautious.
And so to see us get to this point where we are going to for sure be able to serve 100 mothers with unrestricted cash for 3 years, like that is phenomenal.
3 years.
And that's not the end of the dream, right? And so just having partners that are willing to carry this dream, to talk with other funders, talk with other organizations, for-profit and nonprofit, like Elevance Health gave us $200,000 for this, so we have corporate partners too in this. So there's a coalition that we are starting to put together. And I think, folks like you can be added to that coalition and to help us bring other people in that we haven't even thought to talk with yet.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential here.
How are you guys looking at that journey too? So like once that 3 years is up, because now obviously they've gotten used to getting this money regularly. So what happens at that point?
Yeah. So the way they structure it, once you're enrolled, you'll get an initial payment that I think is about $1,100, maybe a little bit more. And so that's a prenatal payment. Then the first month after that, the other monthly payments start. And so for the next 15 months, you receive, I think it's $750 every month.
Wow.
And then the 21 months after that, we start to kind of tamper it down. So that drops to $375 every month. And so there's a natural kind of stair-step de-escalation. So people are prepared. And ideally during this time, between the Bridge Project, the city, and our other supports like Cradle, we will be making sure people are connected to resources, right?
Yeah.
Whether that is things they need for diapers or formula, additional educational opportunities, vocational training, resume help. Like we are going to make sure housing's a big one. Yes. Yes. So we want to make sure that people have all the support that they need during this so that once these payments stop, they're in a far better place than they were when they enrolled in the program, and they're going to be able to stand on their own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of partnerships? Because now my mind is just going. Is there any other partnerships so for example, like there's other benefits, like if you get food stamps, you automatically qualify for, other kind of assistance and services. Do you guys have partnerships in that way so that if they're a part of your program, it automatically makes them eligible for other programs?
Not that explicit. There are two things that might be a little similar. So I mentioned Goodwill's Nurse Family Partnership. And so they're a partner in that they're going to send some of the people that are enrolled in their program into our program. And so we'll measure the compounding effects of both, which I think has some really exciting implications for future partnerships with Goodwill, because Goodwill got some money.
Yes,
they got some money.
I don't know if y'all been to their fundraiser, and they got money for good reason, y'all.
They do. So I'm excited about that. But then also, working with Dr. Carey at Cradle Indy, being able to connect folks, hopefully have some mutual enrollment between folks that are coming in to be enrolled with Cradle, and then our program, which will get them connected with doulas in the future, community health workers, and then just additional wraparound services and support. So I think those are the closest examples of the type of collaboration you're talking about.
I'm excited about community health workers because I mean, when we talk about the Black and brown experience in our current medical system, like I have experiences at 13 years old with my mom being pregnant and being sent home
Mm-hmm.
from the hospital because they said she wasn't having the baby that night. And my dad pulls up in the driveway and he's trying to get her back in and she's screaming. And I'm like, Dad, you got to take her back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 13 years old. We're having a powwow and he immediately takes her back to Methodist Hospital and she had the baby
Oh,
within
Methodist.
23 minutes
Mm.
of checking in.
And there are stories like this all across the city. Like as I've been talking about this, I've been sharing with folks about the years I spent homeless as a kid and what that was like. And I had a younger sister who passed away from SIDS, right? And so
Oh, man.
I have felt this, the
Yeah.
sting of this loss in unique ways. And there are probably thousands of people in the city that have as well. And so I think part of this work is sharing those stories so people understand the impact and the reach of the pain. Even if you don't lose a child or lose a parent, it can be really traumatic having a negative hospital experience, shortly after you gave birth or right before birth.
Mhm.
These things stick with people, right? So
Yep.
we're all probably only a degree of separation removed from someone who has been impacted by
Yeah.
issues
Yep.
with maternal or child health.
Yep.
And that's why something like this, I think, is so important.
I'll never forget. I think I told this story on the podcast before. Me and Jared went to an event. It was like kind of like a dress up event. I can't even remember. Was it a fundraiser or something? Okay, 100 years for CNBC. And while we were there, we sat next to this young, beautiful couple. They were talking about trying to have a baby and all the things. He was a teacher. She was a pediatrician.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was so sweet. And so we were talking, we were telling them, we're praying for the best, that they'll have a baby, blah, blah. And then she did end up getting pregnant. So we ended up becoming friends on social media.
Mhm.
She ended up getting pregnant. And then during so the next thing that we saw is like a whole bunch of RIPs.
What?
And so she's a doctor herself.
I know.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Been here in the city, she had her daughter and she was struggling with preeclampsia as well. They did not go away. They sent her home. She kept telling them she was having stomach pain. They sent her home and she ended up passing away. I want to say a few days after she gave birth to her daughter. And
Wow.
again, and this is a doctor that they were discrediting as she's telling them that she's in pain and they're like, oh, you're all right, and send her home. I think too many times we don't realize how much just like this racism program that's being put into us all, by the way.
Yeah, it is. This is regardless of race.
Regardless of race, it's being put into us all that Black women, like, our pain tolerance is different. And we just trying to get over on a system, or even a doctor. You know what I mean? What would drive you to ignore this woman?
That they do that, and I mean that's why like community health workers are so necessary to help people navigate this. I remember a couple of years ago when I had pancreatitis and they had to remove my gallbladder. I'm literally, Diamond, my business partner, he gets me up there and, they put me in a wheelchair and I end up falling out on the ground and throwing up in the waiting room. They helped get me back in the wheelchair and give me anti-nausea pain and sat me there for another 45 minutes before they saw me. And then when they got back and realized that it was pancreatitis and my gallbladder, my everything was blocked, they would all poke their head in the room, like looking at me, looking like they felt guilty because they thought I was trying to score morphine or something.
Yes. And yes. And people get mad at us saying it all comes back to racism, but I promise you,
it's right.
About 99% of the effed up things I experience somehow, some way comes back to racism.
Yeah.
It does, like, just all the time, especially if you're Black or brown. Like, it almost always comes back. And so,
And can I add to that? There are different levels to racism. Like, I think about this stuff all day, every day, and so when we talk
I would
about
hope so.
right.
You're getting paid for
It's a
it.
job.
When we talk about racism, I think a lot of folks often assume we're talking about that one-on-one instance of prejudice, right? But there are
Yes.
Or
different.
just hate, pure hate,
Yeah,
like you
pure
want to
hate.
do
Yes.
harm. That's
Exactly.
not what it means.
That's not it, right?
No.
You can have interpersonal instances of racism and prejudice. You can have institutional instances in
Mhm.
which there are policies that are baked into the system that just disadvantage certain people and advantage others. And then you have like societal level instances of racism and discrimination. And so all these things can be true. And some of them have nothing to do with the hate that is or isn't in your heart, right? But there's a system that has been built up for so long that
Yes.
makes it so that poverty intersects with race, which intersects with
Yeah.
gender, which intersects with any number of other things that can result in really negative outcomes and even death for folks. And that's what we're trying to
Yes.
tackle and deal with.
Yes. It's like baking a cake, right? When you're eating a cake, you don't taste every single part.
Mhm.
You don't taste the eggs and the baking soda and the flour and you don't taste every individual. It's baked in.
Mm-hmm.
It's baked in, but it's in there.
It's in there.
And so, and you see the effects of it,
Yeah.
right? If you have a cake that doesn't hold up well, they didn't use enough eggs, right?
Mhm.
It's not holding it together well. If it didn't do this, if it didn't rise right, like you can tell. And that's how racism is. And I think, and to your point, like we need to start thinking of it more in that way. Like you may not taste it specifically, that
Yeah.
hate or what you think it was not every situation is gonna be like Ahmaud Arbery or
Mhm.
the guy at the gas station who
Yeah.
killed the dude because he was playing his music too loud.
Mhm.
Or, it's not always going to be these obvious things. Most of the racism that you encounter is baked in.
Yeah.
And you're just, you got this effed up cake that you're trying to figure out what,
Mhm.
it's not quite
Well,
right.
it's just making me sick.
Yeah. It's just not quite right. And you can't taste everything, but yeah, it's in there. So I'm grateful for this program to help start to mitigate some of this stuff. I think, do you see this as, I give this criticism a lot, and it's not, it's kind of observation / criticism, but it's like with the machine, because the machine is built a certain way,
Mhm.
right? Let's say you come out with a yellow star on your belly, right? And we
Dr.
want
Seuss analogies here.
Yes, Dr. Seuss. And we want we need the star to be green. And instead of actually just going and fixing the machine to making it green, we just start putting blue stickers on top of the yellow, say, hey, look, it made green.
Mhm.
Ooh,
But
that's
not
what-
realizing
yeah.
that something that can happen is they can snatch this blue star right
Mhm.
back off and you're right back to yellow.
Mhm.
And so are there elements of this that you feel like are actually correcting the machine, or are we just putting the blue star on top of the yellow?
Mhm. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential to correct the machine. And I'm of the mindset that any transformation has to be, it's got to be built on coalitions. It's got to be built on community, right? And so one of the beautiful things about this is the coalition that we've been able to bring together, right? You have philanthropic partners, you have corporate partners, you have local government, you have national nonprofits, all agreeing on a common problem, all agreeing on a potential solution to that problem, right? And so I think that's the seed to the solution. It won't be that I can unilaterally change everything that may or may not be wrong with local government, right? But what we can do is infuse more of this coalition building way of thinking, more of this community oriented way of thinking, more of this way of thinking that says, regardless of how we got here, we know we're here. We don't want to be here.
Yeah.
How do we pool our resources and knowledge to make sure that we don't stay here? And I think that type of thinking, that type of creativity and imagination and willful courage is what will change the machine and the effects of it.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love the idea too that this is going to enforce trust-based philanthropy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that starts to fix the machine as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Getting a city led project to trust the community is given my criticisms is amazing. I love it. I think this is at least a step in the right direction for the city to push that and be working hand in hand with philanthropy that have actually been doing the work.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I'm a Indianapolis Foundation ambassador.
Mhm.
And, sometimes they receive criticism because things aren't moving as fast as we all want, including myself. It hasn't moved as fast as I want, but I think this is a great example of it is moving, that things are working. The collaborative, the Simon Foundation, the Glick Foundation, Glick Philanthropies and Indianapolis Foundation are all part of CICF.
Yeah.
They were all part of that change in 2019. It was quite controversial.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people saying, well, why are y'all saying this? Or when Brian said that CICF had been a white power institution, people were like, did he mean to say that? But yeah, he did. It was
he did.
it was discussed among all of us for a month.
Mm-hmm.
Who was going to say the word, how it was going to be said, and all of this. So,
Wow.
there is change coming. It unfortunately is slow,
Yeah.
And
but it happens.
And it takes time to do things that are meaningful, right?
Yeah, yes,
Mhm.
it does.
So again, I mentioned I've been working on this for over 2.5 years. Now, there are over 14,000 births in Marion County every year, and we're going to be able to serve 100 moms, right?
Yeah.
In some ways, that feels like a drop in the bucket, but it has taken 2.5 years to get a program this
Not
size
to those
together.
100.
Correct, not to those
You
100.
know?
But this is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
we criticize the pace of change without realizing, like, I had to start having conversations with the Simons and the Glicks a year before I applied for funding in order to get the funding.
Mhm.
Yep.
These things just take time because we're dealing with
Yep.
people and systems and institutions, right? And so
Yes.
I think it's fair to criticize the pace of change. And I think more of us probably need to be involved in the work behind the scenes to move the change along so we understand the pace
Yeah,
and so that we can maybe influence it some.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but it's with the people I talked to for years, for over a decade, we've called this 100-year work.
Mm,
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
not. I don't expect to be around to see all the benefits for it. Hopefully, for some of it, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to reap all the benefits. I don't think any of us are. I think it's
No.
really trying to set up for future generations.
Yeah. Who's planting trees that we won't enjoy the shade? Like
Mhm.
that's a fact. Like it's
Mhm.
gonna be the people after us. But that thoughtfulness hopefully sparks more, right?
Yeah.
That our care and thoughtfulness for them will lead to their care and thoughtfulness for the things that they'll never get to feel or experience,
Mhm.
you know.
Absolutely.
That's definitely the goal. And I think especially dealing with mothers and children, right? You're directly impacting that generational effect.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's beautiful work and so worth doing. I have so many like questions as like a organization because I want to get into. I would love to get into, like, do you think this works if it's not in the city, or do you think that the fact that it was with the city helped to move this
Mhm.
along? Because you said 2.5 years, like that was
Mhm.
like it was a long time.
Mhm.
And to me, to actually get this level of funding for this kind of idea, that feels like a short time.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, what do you think allowed you all to move? And for those of you who don't understand, like that's a short amount of time.
Yeah.
To be able to lift
It's
something
never
this
happened before.
robust.
So,
To be able to
Mhm.
to lift something this robust. So like, do you think it was that it was going through the city, or do you think it was just the right timing, or like what do you think helped
Yeah.
move it along at that pace?
I love that question. That's a great question. I'll say that in other cities and localities this is launched, local government has not been involved like this. So that
okay.
this is the first time they're
Okay.
doing a program in this way for Indianapolis.
Wow.
Typically what happens is you have a wealthy funder that cares a lot about maternal health and infant mortality, and they go to the Bridge Project and say, hey, we got $5 million. Can you do something with this?
Mhm.
And the Bridge is like, we absolutely can.
Yeah.
Here's what we're about to do.
Perfect. Yeah.
And so we've done it a little differently here. And so, yes, I do think having the city as the central hub that is connecting all the pieces has helped, right? Like Bridge didn't have to be on the ground. I'm here. I know who to connect with. I know the questions to ask, the people to pull in. I can leverage my title and position to get meetings with people I might not have been able to get
Mhm.
otherwise, right?
Mhm.
So I do think it helped. Could it have happened otherwise? Yes, had a wealthy funder learned about it and decided they wanted to do it. I think it for sure could have happened. But going back to like changing the machine, like
Mhm.
I don't know if we would have seen the potential for that transformation and shift if the city weren't as involved, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's different when an outside entity is launching a project they really care about versus, again, when the city's coming in saying, hey, we care about this, we want to
Yeah.
do it, come join us in the work. You know, we'll help in this way. We'll connect you to these people. We know who the community partners are. We'll sit down with funders and help you raise money. We'll have conversations with people. You know, like we're the hub of the wheel in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And that is taxing, but also allows for the coalition building. And
Right.
and again, I keep coming back to that because I think that is in this day and age, if we aren't building strong coalitions, we're not going to be able to affect the change we want. And so I think that's why the Bridge Project was excited to come here and do this, is because like, hey, we've never had a city be this involved. Let's see how this plays out. And I think so far it's playing out well. We'll see how many folks get enrolled, but I am super excited at the partners we brought to the table and the potential for future partners to come.
That's amazing.
I love that.
Okay, so remind people again, or maybe for the first time, because I don't think I asked this before, how do they apply?
Yes, absolutely. So once the application is live, November 5th at 9 a.m., you can go to the Bridge Project's website, which I believe is just bridgeproject.org. And there should be a link to apply to Indianapolis's program specifically, and it will be called the Birth Fund. So you'll apply there. The application is pretty short. It should take less than 5 minutes. We'll just ask basic demographic information, name, like, are you in one of these zip codes? What's your income?
No DNA.
Pregnant?
No
DNA.
Okay. All right.
I guess there's no reason to take too,
right.
Yeah.
And we don't want it to be overly burdensome, right? So it'll take less than 5 minutes to fill out. We'll also have flyers throughout the city in 5 different languages and dialects. And so the flyers will have QR codes. So if you were at a bus stop, in Martindale Broward, you can see the flyer, scan the QR code in your phone, and apply on your phone. It'll take you right to the application. We'll have volunteers at different community centers tomorrow and on Saturday, helping people learn about the program and enroll if they want to. And so you'll probably find us throughout the city tomorrow and Saturday doing that work. So there are a lot of different ways that you can do it. But the most direct way would be to scan a QR code on a flyer or to go to the Bridge Project's website and find the application there.
Wow. That's incredible. And then you said December, you guys are starting
first
to choose people.
So applications open the 5th, November 12th. I think the first pool of folks will be selected for enrollment.
Wow.
And then I've been told by December 1st, the first payment should be going out.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, once we get people in.
I figured it'd be like January or something.
Right.
No, we're going to start paying people.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
It's exciting.
Okay. I like that.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. So if you're pregnant or you know somebody who is, you need to apply.
And I get this question too, if you're housing insecure or homeless, right? You don't technically fit into the zip codes. Can you apply? Yes. Long story short, if you're pregnant, I don't care about nothing else. Just go ahead and apply.
Yeah.
We'll sort it out later, right? If you're pregnant below that income threshold, we can figure out a way. Because again, we want to make sure we're serving the people that need it.
Okay.
Is there intentionality around connecting people who don't make into the program with other resources?
Absolutely. I think some of that will depend on how they're hearing about the program, right?
Okay.
So if folks are connected to Cradle already and they're applying through that way, then Cradle's going to be able to take that. Eskenazi will do the same. IU Health will do the same. So we'll see. I don't know how many we'll get that are not connected to anything yet. But those applicants, Bridge can help get them connected to community resources. And then I've got staff in my office that can do the same as well.
Okay, cool. Okay. Well, is there anything else you can think of? Anything else you want to leave folks with, or
just stay tuned. This is again something new the city's doing, and so I would love continuous feedback as it's happening. Things you're hearing from participants that I might not be hearing or be aware of, let us know so that we can tweak things as we need to. And then anyone that wants to partner in seeing how large this work can become, either through bringing new partners to the table or donating themselves to the work or bringing other funders to the table, let me know. We want to grow this as large as we possibly can. So there were 2 initiatives I wanted to talk about. I've spent a lot of time talking about the one that I'm really excited about and that's launching tomorrow. So at some point, maybe I'll come back and we'll talk about City Start.
Okay.
Because there's other work that's happening.
Okay. Well,
real quick, City Start is an initiative we've been working on for a couple years. And we are trying to understand the story of wealth in Indianapolis and what has contributed to wealth building and wealth blocking for our residents, particularly Black residents. And so we are piecing together the things that have affected wealth building and then trying to identify small policies that the city can do to move the needle when it comes to wealth building. So that's a little further down the line. We're still in the data gathering phase and doing community interviews right now. So you'll hear more about that next year, but that is another initiative that we are working on.
I'm going to say housing and land ownership.
Yes. Yes.
I know some people are going to say education and this and that. No, it usually is housing.
Yeah.
Probably incarceration too.
Yeah, incarceration. But
yeah.
Oh, that's how different type of house.
Different.
But yeah.
So the thought I'll leave folks with is one of gratitude, and again, just appreciating being on this platform, and a reminder that there's more than one narrative about the city, right?
Yeah.
There are still folks there trying to do really good work, and build coalitions along the way. And so
Yeah.
if you see us, if you meet us out in the street, join us. There's more work to do.
Yeah.
I mean, and shout out to Alex Rollo
hmm
and with unionizing the MAC employees and stuff. Super excited about that work. So there's definitely still great work being done.
Shout out
Absolutely.
to all the civil servants in there
Yeah.
that, y'all
Mm-hmm.
been, y'all aren't elected to do anything. Y'all
Yeah.
go in
Mhm.
there and y'all are working and on it, in my opinion, probably for low wages.
Mm,
Yeah.
But y'all care about the city. So,
yeah.
but we're also, as soon as we get Ben out of that chair, we're gonna go back to work on some of our elected officials.
Hilarious.
Well, I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
No, thank you. You're welcome anytime. We would love for you to come back and talk about updates too. Maybe we can get updates and hear more about City Start.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would
Next
definitely
year.
want to
Absolutely.
hear more about
See
that.
how
Yeah.
see how stuff is unfolding. So thank you so much for watching another episode of the Black Briefing Podcast, an interview episode this time. We hope that you learned a lot. We hope that you'll comment, put questions, put concerns. Obviously, Ben is really open to you all's feedback.
Mhm.
So you can put that in the comments as well. He watches the show, so
I
he'll
do.
see them. But you can please like, share, subscribe to this channel and to us individually. Obviously, we'll have our contact information on the final slide. We'll make sure that we have Ben's in his offices as well. But thank you all so much, and we'll see you on the next episode.